Today we're going to talk about why anxiety seems to get worse instead of better. And in place of anxiety, you can use the word anger, you can use the word fear, you can use the word resistance, you can use the word panic, grief, betrayal, whatever kind of resistance that you have in your life that's coming up, you can use that word in place of anxiety. Anxiety is kind of a catch-all. It is the main thing that I help people with, so I'm going to use that word, but it comes in different forms. Anxiety can come in the form of anger. Anxiety can come in the form of resistance. Anxiety can show up in the form of grief. And it can be amplified by all of those things and the circumstances in your life too. Good morning. Okay, so why does anxiety seem to get worse over time instead of better? This is a really frustrating thing because when we injure ourselves, most of the time we heal, right? If we've got a good working immune system, all of that, good, our body's working the way it should be, it heals. If we cut our finger, it'll heal very quickly, right? It'll start to heal the next day. You'll notice that the skin is coming together, it's growing, all of that stuff. Why does anxiety seem to get worse instead of heal on its own? I'm going to tell you why, okay? And I'm going to demystify this for you a little bit so you have a better understanding of what's happening with your emotions and why they're doing what they're doing, okay? Every single time that we are in an experience, our subconscious mind is looking for information. Our subconscious mind is looking for a reference point to copy. So anything that has happened before today, our subconscious mind is looking for a circumstance, a feeling that matches the way that we're feeling right now. The physical response, the emotional response, the circumstance, sometimes even the environment. You know how sometimes you might go into a place where you felt kind of yucky the last time you were there and the feeling comes up again and again and again? It can be like if you felt dizzy in a stadium, you might have that same feeling going up into the stands again, okay? Because every time we're in any kind of experience, our brain is looking for something similar that's happened to us in the past and using everything that happened in that experience as information of how to respond right now. Take that in for a second. That's kind of a bugger, isn't it? Every single time that we have an experience, our brain is looking for a reference point to tell us, okay, this is how we responded last time. I got the pounding heart. My throat closed a little bit. My stomach started swirling. I started getting all these different feelings, right? And the body will start to recreate those feelings again and again and again. It stinks, right? Here's what's happening. Our beautiful brain is trying to protect us, is trying to keep us in something that we know and trying to help us stay safe. All of our feelings, all the gunk, every bit of gunk that we have is trying to keep us safe. Every bit of fear that we have in the moment, every time we get that lump in our throat before we want to, we're just itching to speak our truth. We get that lump. You may get that lump in your throat, or you may get nervous about going on stage or something like that, where there's like a little pound to your heart, a little butterfly in your stomach. All of that is a signal. It's a signal that your brain is trying to keep you safe. So first and foremost, let's try not to be too mad at our bodies and minds for doing this. Try not to get too upset with yourself that you're feeling this feeling again that you thought you were done with. Maybe even you've been to therapy for years and years and you don't know why this feeling is still happening. It's because your mind is going back to those roots, those previous experiences, and bringing all of that into the present. Bringing all of that into the present moment. It stinks. It would be so nice if we had a moment, a thing that caused us fear or terror in some cases, right? If we had that and it would just begin to heal over time. But what happens is the feeling actually compounds because the more those files are used, a habit forms. And the more the habit forms, the stronger the feeling gets. That's why you might even notice that if you're dealing with anxiety or anger or something like that, that you are dealing with it in more situations than you ever have before. Take a breath. Be really kind to yourself. Be really loving. Release yourself from the idea that you're bad or wrong or doing something wrong because you have these feelings. I'm a transformational hypnotist, and I help people release anger, anxiety, panic attacks, grief, betrayal, all the feelings from those things. And it can happen very, very quickly. But what we do is we go back to your subconscious mind where all of this data is being stored, and we neutralize those old experiences. It's so simple and so beautiful. We can actually neutralize the experience that caused the feeling in the first place. The first time that you felt that feeling, we can go back to that experience, have you speak your truth about it, have you feel your feelings about it, and actually help your body be calm, cool, and collected, feeling that feeling, being in that experience. Isn't that amazing? That's how you heal your emotional states. It is incredibly powerful to know that your body is not actually fighting against you, right? It's not fighting against you. It's not trying to make your life miserable. I've had very, very successful people say to me, Rebecca, my life is so good. I've got everything going for me. Why can't I just wake up from this nightmare of having this anxiety? Why can't I just get rid of this anxiety or this anger? I keep saying to myself, okay, be strong. Monday morning when you wake up, you're going to feel differently and things are going to be different and you'll feel better and life will be easier. And it's still there. Sometimes it's there as I'm waking up in the morning. Sometimes it's there when I'm doing something great with my kids. Sometimes I'm standing in front of a group of people leading a meeting and my heart starts pounding. And I've been fighting my mind about this for so long. Well, now you know. Now you know the reason. Because every time we're in those experiences, there are situations happening in those experiences that your body, your subconscious mind, is saying that you may not be safe. Based on history, based on your own history, and here's another little beautiful way that this can happen, based on things that you've witnessed. Based on things that you may have heard your family say that they were afraid of. Oh my gosh, it makes me so nervous to speak in public. You may take on that feeling of being nervous about speaking in public without even ever having spoken public, because that was the story in your household. Wild, huh? Your brain is always trying to protect you. So give it a break from the judgment, okay? Give it a break from being so worried that you're broken or wrong or messed up, because you're not. Just take a breath, put your hand on your heart. Take a moment to love yourself and honor the fact that everything's actually working. Everything's working because you're feeling that feeling. Most people, when they reach a certain point in their lives, usually late 30s, early 40s, and on, we've accumulated so many miserable things that have happened to us. Big, small, anything in between. Some of them are tiny little blips in the grand scheme of things. When we look back like, oh, I can't believe that affected me as much as it did. We've made collections, big collections of everything that has happened in our lives. That's why, especially in our late 30s, early 40s, mid 50s, these feelings get stronger and stronger. The anger, a little dry eye here, the anger that you may have learned from when you were very young, you may think, you know, I have my mom's anger, right? My mom had a short temper, so I have a short temper. You learned from your mom in that instance how to respond to those situations. You witnessed it, right? So you took that on as the way to do it. And once again, every single time that your mind is in a situation, it will go back to the past and search for a reference file, like a perfect recipe of how to respond in the current moment. Your physical, emotional, and behavioral responses. Now, it's not your mom's fault, right? I'm not blaming your mom. That's not what I'm saying. She learned it from somewhere too, right? She had an experience that created that feeling in her that she's using as a reference file. You can see how far back pain can go because we're constantly learning it from one another. We're learning all sorts of great things too, don't get me wrong. But when we're learning those things and then blaming ourselves for not being the person that we want to be, not having it be the way that we want to be, not being the leader that we want to be, not being the parent that we want to be, it's because that gunk is stored up. Now, my job is to help you look at those experiences, walk through those experiences, honor and validate the feelings that you felt then, and release them. Forgive yourself for holding on to the feelings. Unchain yourself from the people and the experiences that have caused you pain, and to set you free so that you can create the life that you want without carrying this extra baggage around. Sounds pretty great, doesn't it? It can happen in as little as a day. I have a VIP day program that you can make a shift out of this feeling in one day and then follow-up sessions as needed. It's really powerful for us to come together to talk about where you've been, where you want to go, spend some time making goals, stepping into those past experiences, releasing the pain, the irritation, the frustration, the hurt from those old experiences, and then allowing yourself to come into the present and operate from here. Because when you heal those past experiences, everything that's in the reference file then is confidence, ease, flow. There's nothing pulling you back to that experience anymore. So it's actually easier for you to operate from right now, the present moment. It's where all the good stuff is happening. That's where your creativity is most effective. That's where you can get inspired and have the ability to create solutions for yourself. It's extremely powerful. This is where we want to be anyway, right? We don't want to be operating from old feelings, old experiences, things that happened when we were kids. You know those moments when you have a temper tantrum now? You're like really upset about something and it kind of comes out and you think, oh, I'm feeling kind of immature. Like this feeling is feeling like, oh, I'm feeling kind of childish or even a little victim-y right now, right? It doesn't feel like a grown-up response. It's because the root is probably from when you were a kid. You learned how to feel that way when you were a child. And your mind is still creating pathways to and from that experience. So you can see it. The more those old pathways are used, the more those old files with anxiety, anger, frustration, irritation, panic, whatever it is, have in them, the more often those files are used, the stronger the pathways become. Then we say things like we have an anxiety issue, right? We have an anxiety habit. Oh, if I go to this kind of place or I have this kind of feeling, then this happens. And it's just my anxiety, right? And we start to identify as an anxious person. We start to say my anxiety instead of the feeling that I have as anxiety. We start to identify with that, and that makes the pathways even stronger. So here's another thing that I want you to take away from today. This is the thing that you get to take away and start using effective immediately. Anytime you are in a situation where you begin to feel that anger, that anxiety, that panic, and you're like, start talking yourself out of it, right? Because your brain is trying to keep you safe. It loves going for those old references to keep you safe in the present moment. Anytime that you start to talk yourself out of doing something because of the way that your emotions are responding. And when your emotions are responding, there's stuff happening in your physical body. There's no doubt about it, right? When your emotions start happening, there is a physical response in your body. So don't let anybody tell you that your emotions are all in your head, because they're not. They have physical responses. Your heart starts pounding. You get a heaviness on your chest, tightness on your shoulders. You notice your shoulders are kind of creeping up like this. Maybe you get swirls in your stomach. Maybe you get a little stomach problem that leads you to the bathroom, right? Every time those feelings come up, it's your body trying to talk you out of moving forward, because it doesn't think it's safe, because it's operating on those old files. It doesn't realize what age you are right now. It doesn't realize how much wisdom you have right now. It doesn't realize how much experience you have right now. We can reset all of that. So if you want to talk to me about that, we can. But what's important for you to know is that your brain is trying to talk you out of doing that big thing. Your brain's trying to talk you out of it because it doesn't know, especially when you're doing something new, right? You're giving a talk that you haven't given before. You're in a meeting and leading people about a situation that you haven't led anybody about before. Your brain is like, okay, well, we don't know how this is going to go, so let's just not do it. Let's create all sorts of turbulence in the body so they get the signal that they should just get the heck out of there. And maybe for you, the feeling is paralysis, right? Because it's usually fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So you may feel like you want to run away. You may feel frozen in paralysis. You may feel like you have to shift your personality to be really at ease, or help the other person feel at ease and make them see your value. Or you may feel like it's completely chaos in your body, right? That is your body saying, okay, we don't like this situation. We've got to go. But here's what I want you to take away from today. Every time that you give in to that feeling, and I don't mean that you're weak when you do this, okay? This is not what I mean at all. But every time that you let the feelings in your body, the emotions and the physical responses dictate how you respond, how you behave, the reference files get stronger. Okay, let me give you an example. We'll use this one. We'll use this one just like I didn't have this prepared. So a little kid doesn't like gym class. Feels like they don't know enough about sports. They don't know enough about whatever it is that the teacher is teaching them. They feel like they can't do it. They're not athletically inclined, we'll say, just whatever the case may be. So anytime any mention of going to gym class comes up, they get a stomach ache. And that stomach ache is probably legit, right? Because often when we're little kids, the feeling center is in our stomach. That's the place where we notice the ick first, right? When we get nervous, we might get an upset stomach, have to go to the bathroom, whatever. So imagine this little kid doesn't want to go to gym class. Okay, I'll write you a note today. You don't have to go to gym class. They get out of gym class. They go home. They go to the nurse's office, whatever. Now they have to fight that feeling the next time they go to gym class. Okay, gym class is coming, but I got out of it yesterday, and that kept me safe. So maybe I should try to do that again. This is all what the subconscious mind is thinking, right? So here we are, gym class again, approaching. Oh my gosh, I think I'm sick again. It must have been something I ate. Start making excuses. Start making a reason why my stomach hurts. I got out of gym class once. It kept me safe. Let me do it again. Okay? You can imagine over time how it would be so easy for a little kiddo to be like, yeah, my stomach really hurts when I think about this. And now as an adult, they have stomach problems because they've convinced themselves, the subconscious mind has convinced them that anytime there's anything nerve-wracking that needs to happen, that they get a stomach ache. It could have expanded into something else, right? Could have pounding heart, could have tension in the muscles, could be a migraine, whatever. But that stomach ache has a secondary benefit. It got them out of gym class. So let's keep that stomach ache around. Okay? So now transfer this into your own life. Just look at an experience where, okay, when that thing comes up, when this kind of situation comes up, maybe you have to go see someone in your family you don't really care for. To all my family, I'm very lucky. I love all of you, so I'm not talking about you. But maybe you get a migraine when you think about going to see your family because it's been really difficult to see them. You don't feel like you're part of the gang. Maybe you feel like an outsider or the black sheep, whatever. So every time that feeling comes up, you talk yourself out of going. You talk yourself out of doing the thing. And the subconscious mind worked, right? It did its job. It kept you safe, kept you out of that situation. So what I want you to remember, effective immediately, when you take yourself out of something that you are going to do because of the emotional state that you're in, that subconscious pattern grows stronger. So the first time you notice it happening, that you want to get out of something because you don't quite feel good. And I'm not talking about intuition. I'm not talking about something telling you not to go from your gut, right? Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fear coming in and saying, no, let's create a feeling in your body that you're not going to go. You're not going to do that thing. You're not going to give that speech. You're not going to speak your truth. You're not going to let people know who you really are. You're not going to look for that job promotion. You're not going to start that business. You're not going to do that thing. Those pathways get stronger. So I want you to promise yourself right now, if you choose, you're always at choice, promise yourself that the next time you feel that and your subconscious mind is trying to talk you into taking a step for yourself, instead you take a stand for yourself and you take that step. Even if you're like a wobbly little baby who's first learning how to walk, you take that step and you remind yourself, I am safe. It is safe for me to move forward. It is safe for me to do powerful things. It is safe for me to step into the unknown because I'm doing it with wisdom and education, and I'm taking care of myself the best I can. I hope that is helpful for you. I hope that that was meaningful for you. If you are ready to talk about healing the anxiety, the anger, the feelings that you've been carrying around for a long time, schedule a call with me at callwithrebecca.com. And I'll see you next week, okay? Bye for now.